Hello and welcome to On The Watch, where we don't let our fandom get in the way of our honest criticism. I'm your host, the prince that was promised, the breaker of chains, the mower of mains, the remover of stains, the beige savior, Mazora High. And this right here is my beloved brother, the Captain Friendzone to my Khaleesi, both of the Daria Naharises to my Khaleesi, the incest to the Lannisters, the incest to the Targaryens, the arranged marriages to Sansa Stark, the Melisandre to my Stannis Baratheon, the Hodor to all of our hearts. He knows nothing but for that thing he does with his tongue. My dancing teacher, Pedro Farrell. Valar Morghulis.
Valar Dohaeris.
Today we're going to go through the first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones in a spoilery fashion, Page. And we're doing this in preparation for the 8th and final season of Game of Thrones.
Would you call it a Game of Thrones extravaganza? This episode. Game of Thrones extravaganza. Or does that like mess your flow up?
A man is confused.
It's a Game of Thrones extravaganza.
What are your general thoughts about the previous 7 seasons so far?
Oh,
Page?
wow.
Yeah, it's a big one.
7 seasons.
7 seasons.
All right. Do you want me to go like point by point, or is it like just the general thoughts?
That's usually what general thoughts mean, Page.
Okay, I'll give you my general thoughts. Loaded question.
Loaded.
I'm going to be a bit of a downer here.
What a surprise.
What a surprise.
What a surprise.
Generally, I would say this is a show that hooked me from the get-go, fell in love with it, became obsessed, started reading the books, started collecting stuff, and the show took a dive. It just decided to stop becoming that great around season 5.
Okay.
Hasn't really gotten back up. There has been episodes that have been quality.
Okay.
But in general, it's just not what it used to be. And I hate to say this. Trust me, this comes with a lot of pain of saying Game of Thrones is at its height of popularity right now, but quality, it's just not there anymore.
Do you think Dan Wise and David Benioff can revive it Night King style?
Night King style. I'd say I'm cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
Because they've had 2 years now.
They've had 2 years, yeah. It's been a long winter.
It's been a long winter. And I'm not going to give reasons why the quality has dipped. But I'm going to give reasons. That one of the reasons might be...
I like the fact that you said something and directly contradicted yourself in the same sentence.
Yes.
I appreciate that about you, Beige.
Yes. It is just noticeable to me that the quality... They haven't been on script based on the books for a long time. But they have been somewhat following the guidelines. And it's just noticeable that since there haven't been any books, since they've have been reaching the point that there is just no book to base it on, that the quality has dipped. So that's the cautious part.
So you think they needed George R.R. Martin to hold the door?
This is gonna be a punny episode, isn't it?
All of the puns.
All of the puns. I do think they needed the general lines and guides to follow. Now, that being said, some of their best work, even in the earlier seasons, had been the original stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There have been great dialogues and great scenes that have not been based on the books. It's not that they can't do it. It's just the general story. They just needed a sort of a blueprint is the feeling I get.
Okay.
To work in. When they have the blueprints, they know what to do. They are very capable writers and directors. And other than that, it's become a spectacle show.
Okay.
A little vapid.
Harsh.
It used to be quality TV for me, and now it's just spectacle to me. And it somewhat hurts me as a huge fan.
In here and in here?
Both of those places. Mostly because this doesn't get used anymore. You know what I mean?
Wow, that's really harsh.
Yeah. What can I say? So yeah, those are my feelings so far. I am cautiously optimistic. They've had 2 years to work on this season. Less episodes. Although some of the runtimes I've heard are pretty long.
Yeah, they're feature length.
Yeah. Not all of them though.
No, some of them.
Some of them.
There are only 6 episodes left, so...
Yeah, but the early rumors were that each episode was a feature length.
Yeah.
Now, the duration of the episodes have been released, at least the first 2.
Okay.
Those 2 are just normal 50 minutes.
Well, I think like in an ideal world, an episode should be as long as it needs to be, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't say that as a bad thing.
Okay.
As I don't mind that the episodes are gonna be lesser. They're gonna be shorter than feature length. It's sort of I'm having a hard. It has been a show that I've loved for a long time, and it's gonna be a little hard to let go of. That's why I just want more.
Yeah, it's been a decade of our lives, Pish.
Yeah, it's been a decade of our lives for sure.
Yeah, like we used to be as green as Bran used to be.
Just climbing things.
Just climbing things.
Watching incest.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm a little bit more optimistic than you are about the show.
Tell me your thoughts, man.
I think
your general thoughts.
My general thoughts is it started out brilliantly, as you stated as well. It took a dip for me in season 2. It got better. It took a dip again in season 5, and then it got better again. It's not as good as it used to be in like the middle 3 and 4th seasons.
Yeah.
But then again, it's a high bar, a very, very high bar.
It's a high bar. I have a question for you.
Shoot.
Sorry to interrupt you.
That's okay. Shoot your arrows at me. Tyrion Lannister, I'll be your Charles Dance. I'll be your daddy.
My question to you is, do you think the quality has dipped as low as we think it has? Or we've grown and the show has stopped growing with us? Do you know what I mean? We've been watching this for 10 years.
We have.
And during these 10 years, many quality things have come and passed. Do you think Game of Thrones pioneered some of the quality TV? It kept growing for a while, becoming better and better and better. Because season 1 has aged. Have you rewatched any of it?
I've rewatched all of the seasons.
It's aged. Season 1 has aged some.
Lower budgets. It really
especially in their first half of the season.
Okay, yeah, fair.
Everything, direction, some of the writing, it's just not.
Well, I think it all has to do with the budget as well, because when you work on a budget, you have to work on a budget director as well.
I'm just saying things weren't perfect.
True.
You know what I mean? Do you think the show has, at a certain point, stopped growing with us, with our tastes and with our expectations?
A lot of words, Paige. A lot of words. Deep thoughts. Deep thoughts. What I'm thinking is basically, I'm of many minds about it. I think the show was really well written,
yes.
and that still stands out. the look of it has aged, especially in the first couple of seasons, like especially in the big battle in season 2 somewhere.
I love Blackwater. I think it's done very well, actually.
But it shows that it's done on the cheaper side.
It is the cheaper side, but it is also, it doesn't stand out because it's in the style of the books. The books, at least as far as I've read, which isn't that far. I finished the first one, I'm somewhere in the second one. They don't show battles. It's sort of the aftermath, and some of the viewpoints. There's no grand battle description,
but still,
so it works in season 2 for sure.
But still, like especially in the later season, the show has taken a grave departure from that.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, it really shows that it's done on the cheap. And I think because the writing was so well, and because we invested so much in the characters, our expectations have gotten bigger and higher and bigger and higher each season, to the point where I think there's whatever they delivered, there's just no satisfaction at the end of a tunnel because the expectations are so high. The quality did take a dip.
It did, right? I'm thinking of some stuff, and I'm like,
and especially after the 4th season, which was amazing.
It's a little trashiness every now and then.
Well, the trashiness always has been there, Page.
The trashiness has been there, but it wasn't empty trash. You know, it was a means. The trashiness was a means.
I disagree. I highly disagree.
Didn't they term the term? Didn't they coin the term sexposition?
They did. Do you remember the sexposition Littlefinger gave in season 1?
Yeah.
And season 2?
Yeah, I do. But they were still there was plot going on.
If you call that plot.
Yeah, sort of. I don't know.
I mean,
and there, not only the trashiness, there's a lot of. I can't, for the love of me, say season 5 was good.
You don't have to. That's a beautiful part of it, because you're a grown man and you can say whatever you want, whenever you want. And I highly agree with you.
It just lately leaves me feeling somewhat. Lately, I mean 2 years ago. The last 3 seasons have been. Has it been 3? Yeah. Last 3 seasons have been leaving me feeling, have left me feeling somewhat empty. There's not much to ponder on, or do I care to ponder on?
Do you think that is because the show has nothing more interesting to offer, or do you think that the characters have reached a level where the conflict has to take main stage instead of the characters now?
I think the show has lost its mystery for me.
That is fair. The
show has lost its mystery. It's not that it doesn't have mystery, it's just how it handles its mystery. And the way it handles its mystery and ambiguity is very matter of fact. It just flies over them. There's no build up. There's no sense of it fails to gain my interest. And that's purely because how the writing has handled it. I'm going to give you examples later on in the episode.
Okay.
But I do feel like they just have certain plot points that they want to get through.
Okay.
But they lack the build-up. And sometimes they even lack the resolution. The resolution just comes and goes, and that's it. While in earlier seasons, same plot lines, they might have built up to it, and it was a huge thing.
Do you think that's detrimental to the higher budget that they get, that they can basically show stuff instead of, building it up and building up tension?
But they can show stuff, but they resort to telling a lot of times. There's a certain plot point that just irks me while I'm talking about.
Okay, you know what? Let's just go through the seasons one by one.
Okay.
I have prepared short summaries for each seasons. A lot of research, sleepless nights. That's how much I care, guys. That's how much I care. Season 1 is basically about the rise and fall of Ned Stark. First scene establishes the real threat that comes from beyond the wall.
Yes.
Jamie pushes Bran out her window after witnessing what can be described as the origin story of Pornhub. Robert dies. We find out that the Lannisters killed Robert's hand because the hand found out about their incestuous relationship and their offsprings. Littlefinger backstabs the living crap out of Ned Stark. And the first time I even saw what we believe to be the main character die before even the end of the season.
Yes.
And I thought that I was extremely fearless, ballsy, iconic. It was rebellious. And it made the show become very unpredictable for me. And right after that, Khal Drogo dies and Holy Poops Dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't you feel like we lived in simpler times? When you go through these plot lines, times were simpler because Game of Thrones was big. And I remember there was
huge.
There was hype around it coming out. I knew nothing of it.
Well, surprise.
But I feel like this day and age, half of these plot lines would have gotten spoiled.
That is true.
Simpler times.
Insane. Simpler times indeed.
Simpler times. It came out at the right time because if Ned Stark's death was spoiled, I don't think this show would have worked for a lot of people. I think that's the moment a lot of people were like, "Oh,
I gotta pay attention."
I mean,
before people's heads chop off.
Yeah.
All right. Then we have season 2, War of the Five Kings. We have Stannis, Renly, and Joffrey Baratheon, Robb Stark, and Balon Greyjoy. Holy Poops, Smoke Monster Baby kills Renly, and then we have the Battle of Blackwater. Oh, for me, in this season, very little happens.
And this is an age-old discussion, isn't it? Between us.
Yeah.
You don't like season 2.
I think it's bad.
I like
poor.
season 2 a lot. You don't like Blackwater. I like Blackwater a lot. I think season 2, the show gets dark.
It was dark from a get-go. I mean, first episode, Jamie throws a kid out of the window.
Yeah, but the tone, it's a different tone. It had dark moments. Generally, the tone in season 2 is much darker.
Okay.
And a lot of it is at night, too. Maybe because of that.
Maybe because of that, yeah.
But
you're a very visual person.
Visual, yeah. Or literal. I like season 2 a lot. I feel like it played a lot with my expectations. Because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
At the end of season 1.
Yeah, okay.
I sort of couldn't imagine where things were going. Started introducing magic more.
Yeah.
I was shocked how open I was to it. Piqued my interest, actually. Because it was done in a very... The magic was...
it was done in a very matter-of-fact way.
Very matter-of-fact. This is the thing. Because season one was sort of a period piece. It didn't have, except for the last episode, didn't have that much magic in it. It was fantasy, but it wasn't all-out fantasy. So they sort of baited people who are not into that.
Okay.
And in season 2, they were like, let's sprinkle a little bit.
It's just smart storytelling.
It is smart. It's a bit what Lost did. Start off thoroughly, slightly, start off somewhat realistic, and then sprinkle in the sci-fi in there. And sort of, this is that playbook as well. And I liked it. It worked for me. I like the characters a lot in season 2 that focuses on. I really liked Robb Stark's rise.
King in the North.
Some characters really come into their own in that season. Renly Baratheon was actually one of my MVPs.
Really?
That season, I really liked Renly.
So, tell me, Pedro, do you like shaved chests or unshaved chests?
I don't shave. I trim. Well, that fact is not out there.
Yeah, manscaping all the way.
You gotta manscape. Melisandre got introduced. Stannis got introduced. I didn't like Stannis at all that season.
Wow, he was my MVP of the season.
I feel like Stannis became one of my MVPs, but he was very unlikable. And I don't have a problem with unlikable characters as long as they're watchable.
Okay.
And I didn't think he was that watchable. He wasn't that interesting. He was a little bland and just unlikable.
Well, the thing I
And
like...
Joffrey is unlikable. Sorry to interrupt you. Joffrey is unlikable, but he is deliciously unlikable, and I love watching him.
Well, Joffrey is chewing a lot of scenery.
Yes.
And his swag is just undeniable.
Undeniable.
What I liked about Stannis is he's such a departure from everybody in that show. It was a breath of fresh air for me.
It also introduced Davos,
Davos.
who for a very long time was my MVP.
Does it make me a bad person that I was glad his son died?
Oh no, I was happy too.
Okay, good. Because
I was happy
felt
too.
pretty horrible about myself for liking it.
I don't feel like Davos actually mourns him all that much. So he might also be
Happy.
somewhat glad it happens.
Yeah, I mean...
He was a weirdo.
He gained somewhat of a daughter,
yeah.
and that turned out well.
Yeah. So I like Davos a lot, and the biggest...
He's using a finger, guys.
And the finger...
Wow.
The biggest... The biggest reason I like season 2, and that is the season that Tyrion rules. Tyrion comes into his own. It's Tyrion's season.
It is Tyrion's season.
And I loved it because of that. That's my number one reason that I like season 2 that much.
Okay, that's fair.
Also Smoke Baby.
Yeah, Smoke Baby. Smoke Baby is a thing of beauty. Beauty. And poor Davos had to basically watch as she gave birth to that thing.
Also, I'm just saying a lot of alsos because I just started recalling things. Brienne got introduced in season 2. A lot of great characters. Yeah. Also, Jaime sort of started making his turn and showing more depth.
Not then.
He started showing more depth.
He started definitely experimenting with his hair.
Yeah.
So did Cersei, by the way. Horrible wigs back then. And then we have season 3. It's basically the seasons where Lannisters go against the Starks in a big way. Theon becomes Reek. Jaime joins the good side of the Force after losing his favorite hand. And Walder Frey backstabs...
Does one have a favorite hand? Or is it just his sword-wielding hand? Does he literally go, I lost my favorite hand?
Paige, everybody has a favorite hand. And if you don't, you're probably a smoke monster, baby.
All right.
Walder Frey backstabs Robb. And holy poops, the Red Wedding and the Stark wipeout. This is where Game of Thrones started working in all cylinders. Like, that was the first season, like, especially after the terrible season 2. This is where I started believing in Game of Thrones. Like, you know what? I never thought they were going to surprise me again after Ned Stark. And then they just killed everybody. Everybody, Pish.
So, season 3.
Yes.
Season 3 is beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Because it takes the amazing writing of season 1, the surprises of season 1, which are just death. It just involved surprise deaths. And then it takes the darkness, the dark tone of season 2, the budget of season 2, which was higher than season 1.
It was slightly higher.
And then it just creates this beautiful baby. Season 3 is amazing. Yet not the best season, I would say. But it's up there.
Absolutely.
Now I'm gonna
definitely top 7.
Now I'm gonna go on a tangent.
Okay.
You know what? When I said season 1, there were simpler times.
Yeah.
Season 3 was not. I got spoiled on a red wedding.
Yeah, I'm sorry for that.
It is your fault.
Indirectly.
Indirectly.
I hate spoilers as much as you do.
But the story goes as such. That you were on your honeymoon.
I was on my honeymoon.
And specifically requested for me to wait and watch the final 2 episodes with you.
Absolutely.
Me being a great brother that I am.
Amazing. I
waited 2 weeks. Didn't watch the 9th episode and didn't watch the 10th episode.
Yeah.
Got spoiled.
You did.
Multiple times.
You did.
And then I watched it with you and I
enjoyed it a great deal.
You did. And the red wedding, I was so angry. I was angry watching it.
You were angry at me.
Yeah. And then
Paige, you know what? Your sacrifice has not been gone unnoticed. That's why I put in the horror to all of our hearts.
Now I got another tangent. A cool story.
Okay. Can you do the dance movie you did again?
We got another tangent.
Beautiful.
It's not a cool story.
It's not a cool story?
I'll take it back.
Okay.
We don't watch any promotional material.
We do not.
Because we want to stay on solid. But season 3 was done and we're like, let's just watch some interviews now. Finally, we're done. There's no material for the next season. Let's just watch some interviews. Literally, the first interview was with Charles Dance. And the interviewer goes like, how do you feel that next season is going to be your last season because your death scene is coming up? I was like, what? And we basically cried.
We cried.
We were like,
for hours.
We're already spoiled on the next season.
Yeah.
And those were not simpler times.
Smug book readers, man. Smug book readers. With their knowledge.
Yeah. Season 3 is amazing though. Me being spoiled doesn't take it away that the red wedding is an extremely well executed sequence.
It is. MVP of the season, I have to say Robb Stark. What was that sigh of relief you just made, Paige?
Season 3. MVP?
Robb Stark?
No, it's not Robb Stark though. I just remember one scene specifically, and I have to call that person the MVP, even though I don't think in general she is that MVP.
Catelyn Stark?
Catelyn Stark, man. The acting on that woman. I liked it. I'm not everybody. I
can tell.
Not everybody could have pulled off the red wedding. I think the red wedding works great amount because of her reactions and actions and.
Well, there are 2 amazing screams in Game of Thrones. Both come from women, and they're both.
Oh, I got chills.
Heart-wrenching.
I got chills while she's slitting her throat and just goes numb. You don't have to do that. You know how Catelyn. That scene, and then somebody comes and slits her throat.
Yeah, it's like nobody's business.
But man, the acting on that woman, incredible.
She's great.
Incredible.
She's great.
What's the battle in season 3? There was no battle.
There was no battle in season 3. There was a couple of little ones where Robb Stark basically started gaining power.
Yeah, it's more book style.
Yeah.
Aftermath.
Season 4. Joffrey dies. Thank God. Sansa finally escapes. Thank God. Tyrion gets the blame and goes on trial. Chooses trial by combat. And of course, combat with a K. Cersei chooses the mountain.
Yeah.
Oberyn Martell chooses to be Tyrion's champion after Jaime and Bronn both refuse. Oberyn doesn't double tap, Ish. Oberyn does not double tap. Always double tap. Gets his melon mushed in. Makes his girlfriend scream. Second scream. Jaime lets Tyrion escape. Tyrion kills his ex-girlfriend because the betrayal and also sleeping with his daddy. Then he kills his daddy. And then with the help of Varys, he escapes to Essos. And they go on their way to save Daenerys from 4 more boring seasons of traveling and getting nowhere.
Yes.
Holy Oops, I guess. Daenerys finds out that Jorah was a spy. Of course, we all knew. Bran meets the three-eyed raven.
Is it really holy poops though?
For Daenerys, it was. I felt like it really touched her.
Oh yeah. Okay.
In here. And in here. Bran meets the three-eyed raven. Wildlings attack the wall. Casualties on both sides. Lady Snow dies. Sad John. Sad John. Yeah. Stannis helps defeating the wildlings. Brienne goes ape on the hounds. And Arya travels to Bravos.
Yes.
A lot happened this season. A lot happened this
favorite season.
My favorite season as well. Oberyn, all of the charm.
My favorite season, it is without a doubt my favorite season. It's up. Season 3 and 4 are really close.
I would still put season 4 far
above it?
Far above season 3, yeah.
It's somewhat above it because I don't like the battle at the wall.
Oh wow, really?
My least favorite battle.
I mean, it all comes into a halt when Ygritte dies, and that kind of bothered me.
I just don't care for that episode.
I really like the navigation and the camera movement.
And yeah, that's hey, direction was great. I just do not care for that episode. You know what episode did a good battle? Blackwater. That episode is filled with great moments.
There's literally 2 scenes in Blackwater.
No.
They're on a boat and then everything blows up.
But it's not just a battle episode. It has a lot of depth. The episode in general has a lot of depth.
Ygritte died, Pish?
I don't know who the cares.
Ygritte died, Pish?
Yeah, she did, but yeah, I didn't. That episode is one of my least favorite episode of that season, and one of my least favorite spectacle episodes, if not the least favorite spectacle episode.
Harsh.
I just don't like it. So that's why. And season 3 doesn't have one, but it has the Red Wedding.
The thing is, I understand where you're coming from, and knowing you like Battle of Blackwater, I know your taste is questionable at best, so I get it.
Blackwater is a good episode. It is not a great battle episode. It's a good episode.
Questionable taste.
Okay,
questionable taste indeed.
Whatever. This battle is just gonna go on forever.
Yeah.
Season 4, it did some holy poops moment, as you would like to put.
I would like to poop. I really would.
So
keep it in.
Okay. Early on.
Yeah.
In the season, which they were like, let's shuffle things. People are expecting the episode 9.
Episode 4, Joffrey dies.
Yeah. Now, in hindsight, grave mistake killing off Joffrey.
Really?
I think it worked to the show's detriment. Because
explain yourself.
They instantly felt like they need. I know this is based on a book. I'm just talking about the show as is. There was instantly a need to fill those shoes of Joffrey, an evil, sadistic villain, and those shoes were not filled in at all. I don't like Ramsay. I think Ramsay is a one-note character.
Well, they introduced Ramsay like way back.
Yeah, but this was his season, wasn't it?
I guess you can make that point.
I mean, it's not his season. It's the start of his career. I'm talking about later on.
Has been a little shit. Has been a little poop particle.
And poop particle. I'm not talking about this season in general. I said in hindsight, it worked to the show's detriment because Ramsay had to come up, and I don't like Ramsay. I think he's not watchable. He's not that great. He's just a villain. One note, one-dimensional.
Well, it's a lot of fun to watch him just chewing it up and enjoying it.
I did not enjoy it at all.
Not even with a sausage?
Not really. Lesson is great.
Lesson is great.
Whilst Joffrey was incredibly watchable. And yeah, that's about it. Charles Dance died.
Yeah.
We didn't see that one coming. Oberyn.
MVP.
MVP, for sure. I think everybody's MVP, mostly.
And I'm gonna speak for myself. I didn't know of Pedro Pascal back then.
No, me neither.
Like Oberyn really introduced me to Pedro Pascal, and who went on to do great work after this as well.
Yeah, definitely a badass.
He was a badass.
Definitely.
And also, Deep Feast. Huge fan.
All right, that's all I gotta say about season 4, Mass.
All right, cool. Now, season 5. Sand snakes. Jaime and Bronn go to Dorne to save Marcella. Marcella gets poisoned by Oberyn's baby mama. # baby mama drama.
Zoe, no, why, Zoe?
Why, Zoe?
Why?
Cersei arranges for Marjorie and Loras to get arrested by the Sparrows. # Marjorie for perjury. And later on, it bites her in the ass when she gets arrested herself for all that crazy Lannister incest. Cersei does the walk of shame. # no mercy for Cersei.
Is that season 5?
Yeah. A lot happens in this
sure?
season. Yeah.
All right.
Holy Poops Zombie Mountain.
Oh, yeah, it is season 5. Yeah, true. That.
Sansa gets tortured further and finally escapes again, thank God. But this time with the help of Theon. Jon refuses to bend the knee to Stannis.
Yes.
Becomes the Night Watch's Lord Commander. Jon brokers a peace with the Wildlings, goes to Hardhome and get a serious ass whooping by the Night King and his undead army.
Yes.
Holy Poops, come at me, bro. Stannis the Menace sacrifices his own daughter to the Lord of Light by burning her alive to defeat Ramsay's army, which totally didn't work. After being defeated, Brienne finds him and kills him as a revenge for killing Renly. Jon Snow gets crazy stabbed to death because # everybody hates Jon. Pej.
Yes. Ask me the question you were going to ask.
Thoughts?
I hate this.
Question mark. Okay.
I freaking hate it. And it's a couple of elements that just ruins the whole season. In the whole. Sand snakes.
Oh, it's
The worst.
cringe.
It's from a different show.
And it's really hurtful because the whole character of
Doesn't it destroy the legacy of Oberyn?
not only Oberyn but also his baby mama.
Oh, she was terrible as well.
Yeah,
The
she
writing.
was so great in the 4th season and so terrible in the 5th.
Everything that has to do with Dorne, terrible. Except for that location. Beautiful
She was
location.
gorgeous,
But everything else, terrible. Worst fight scenes.
lazy.
Lazy casting as well, because the actresses were not that great. Terrible writing, plot wise and dialogue wise. It's just bad. And then you have the Sparrows.
The Sparrows.
I feel like important plotline probably didn't pan out as well as they would have wanted it to. It was boring.
It wasn't quite interesting. Yeah,
It was
wasn't
boring.
really
The
interesting.
payoff, worth it. Cersei's Walk of Shame is an amazing episode and incredibly painful sequence to watch. And that's a great thing to pull off for a character that has been hated that much that you feel for her.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna use this for a minute. You said Joffrey's death left empty shoes in the show for a delicious villainous character.
Yeah, who's that?
Cersei.
But Cersei has always been that.
Yeah, but she went like full evil.
Nobody filled Joffrey's shoes for me, to be honest.
Okay.
Cersei has been always Cersei. Another thing I want to add, among the best battle episodes, Hardhome.
Hardhome. Yeah, I was
Caught
big
me?
on it.
Oh, I had no idea. No idea there's going to be a battle.
It came out of nowhere. I give you that. It was
Out
surprising.
of nowhere, super surprising,
Say that 5 times.
is all I got to say.
Yeah.
It is so well executed. The Night King, his threat was felt.
Yeah.
For sure. And there's a character in that episode that just love her. Love her. She was so good. And that's why you care about that battle. They introduce you to somebody, make you like her, it's a point of view for somebody who's got something to lose in that episode, and it doesn't feel empty. The battle, because of that, doesn't feel empty. I think she was a great character. It was all very elegant. Great episode.
Well, Paige, do you know how you feel about the battle at the wall? That's how I feel about Hard Home.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That is hard.
I think the resolution of it is pretty cool with the come at me bro scene, but I feel like the writers were like, hey, nobody's gonna care about this fight, so we're just gonna put some random woman there, we're gonna make her say some emotional lines, they will care. I didn't.
I did. It worked. That's the way to do a battle. You have to have stakes.
We already have existing characters.
You know Giant's not gonna die. He's got plot shield.
Yeah, he's not the only one there.
But he's the only one you care for all that much.
Well, then just make him go through the emotions.
No, he's not gonna die.
He doesn't have to die.
But that's the stakes, man. Tyrion could have died in Blackwater. He didn't have a plot shield back then. It was very plausible that cut killed him. There was another stake in Blackwater that was Cersei trying to commit suicide with her child.
Yeah.
Those are stakes, Mass. Those are emotional stakes. And if you don't have them, if it starts feeling empty.
But you see, those are already existing characters where we actually do care about, and now they're going through something that might kill them.
And I think it's done with elegance that they bring somebody else, establish her so well in that episode that you actually, part of you might think, this is a new character. And then they kill her off.
I never thought it was a new character.
I really felt for her. I really liked that character.
But yeah, I never cared for her. I never thought she was going to survive the episode. I really saw what they were doing, and it was really obvious.
Really? You didn't see the battle coming, so how did you think she's not going to survive the episode, man?
Because she started talking about her kids. I was like, she's going to die.
It was beautiful. So good. And the revelations were made in that episode. Revelations were made that...
Jon Snow has plot immunity.
Yes, and his Valyrian sword.
His Valyrian sword, okay.
Can kill a White Walker.
Okay, we kind of suspected that from before.
No, that was Dragonglass.
Yeah, but still, anything like Targaryen and dragon related.
It was so elegant when that ring when the swords touch.
That was beautiful.
And that was
I'm not saying
so elegant. Also, we learned for the first time that the White Walkers are intelligent.
Okay.
They work...
That is true.
Tactically. Is that a word?
That is.
Okay. They work tactically. Tactical. They have a tactical way of working. They have tactics. Tactics are made. And...
please go on.
And isn't that the first time we really meet the... I mean, in season 4, there's a tiny bit when he turns a baby. But this is the first time we've seen him in action. Major badass.
Major badass.
And later on, they changed the actor.
Yeah.
I don't think he has the same menacing look as this one.
No, the first one was a bit more scrawny, and it was like menacing.
I think the first actor, which was in Hard Home, definitely works better than the new actor they picked in the last season for the Night King.
Yeah.
There we go.
Then we have season 6, Worst Kept Secret. Melisandre brings Jon back to life. Jon leaves the Watch to take back Winterfell, where Ramsay, who is just an all-around great guy, has taken Rickon hostage. Hashtag, which one is Rickon? Battle of Bastards happen. Just to prove that there can be only one bastard. Jon wins with the help of Sansa and Littlefinger, who just come right on time. Arya becomes a faceless assassin, kills Walder Frey. Cersei blows up the Sept of Baelor, which can be compared to the 9/11 equivalent of the Westeros. And kills the Sparrows and Tyrells and everybody who basically doesn't like Cersei. Crazy Uncle Euron Greyjoy power grabs like a boss and orders the killing of Theon and Yara. Sataman jumps out the window and kills himself. Danny, House Tyrell, House Martel, and half of House Greyjoy join Khaleesi's army of Dothraki and the Unsullied. Bran becomes the three-eyed raven, goes in the past, messes up majorly, gets grabbed by the Night King. Night King attacks the cave where they were in. Bran and Mira escape through Hodor's ultimate sacrifice. Hold the door!
Hold the door.
Hashtag hold the door.
Why is... There's nothing gonna be here. I'm not gonna put hashtags on the screen.
You should.
No, nothing.
Just do it.
You're just gonna look like a fool doing this. I'm gonna keep this as well.
Such a dick move.
Go on. Go on, buddy.
Apparently Benjen is alive, cause that's a thing. Well, almost. And helps Bran and Mira escape. They go south towards the wall and let Jon know that he's not a bastard, but the love child of Lyanna Stark and somebody who we do not know yet. Who could it be? Who could it be?
All right. Now this season is a season of revelations.
Yes, it is.
Does a piss poor job at them.
Nice one.
Yeah, it really does a piss poor job at delivering on those revelations. I think most of these revelations just came and went. That's it. Oh, all right, that was it. There's literally no gravitas.
Mm-hmm.
And the only one is Hodor.
Hodor.
Because he was holding the door. And I doubt this is a question that was on people's mind. I mean, I guess why he is that way, but did you ever wonder why does he say Hodor?
Honestly, like that scene just broke me.
It's a beautiful scene.
It touched the nation. It touched humanity.
It did.
It touched me. Here. And here.
All I could think about was Jack Bender is a director I don't like. Yes. He did a lot of Lost as well, by the way. I just don't like his work.
Okay.
He does great emotional stuff. Mm-hmm. Action, not so much. And that is my problem with that episode. Okay. I like the Hodor bits of it. In general, not big on the action in that episode. Also, a lot of cheese. I don't like Children of the Forest revelation. That was... It's just don't you think they look a little cheap? They look like cosplay.
They do look like a very, very good cosplay.
Yeah. And what were they doing with those bombs? You know what? Those bombs.
Please do that again.
You know what those bombs remind me of?
Sure. Go ahead.
I have a feeling you have a feeling. What I mean.
Let's say a 3.
Yes.
Green Goblin.
Oh no.
The way 1, 2, 3 works is we have to say it at the same time.
No, Dark Knight Rises. There's a part that Batman is fighting Bane, and he's getting his ass kicked.
Oh, the distractions.
And he's like, I'm going to use distractions. So he throws these smoke bombs, but they literally sprinkle some fireworks. Magic dust. And he's like, oh, distractions. Oh.
Your punishment must be more severe.
On the way of the League of the Shadows. No, for real. Those also terribly executed part of that great battle. It was a great fight scene between Batman and Bane, to go on a tangent. But that execution of those smoke bombs, I had the same feeling about they were throwing the bombs. And show how you can show that they're ineffective by making those bombs look effective. And then show that they're still ineffective. Not making them look very ineffective and I go like, obviously they're not going to work.
But of course.
I did like the spider crawl. The whites being all like spiderish into that tunnel. I'm going deep on this episode.
That's what she said.
But yeah, a lot of revelations that I just... The biggest one, and it's the one that Sherlock Holmes did, is Cersei blowing up the Sept, which came about, and I called it way before it happened, Not that I want to tap my own back. I called it happening way before it happens, and I said it in detail that Cersei is gonna blow up someplace. I didn't know it was the Sept. Actually, no, I didn't know the Sept. I said Cersei is gonna blow up the Sept. And you know how I came up to this revelation? I don't think I've revealed to you how I came up with it.
No, but I'm enjoying your gymnastics of thoughts, basically discussing with yourself what you did think or did not think, and then you. I'm seeing a lot of revelations in your head as it is happening right now.
Yes. No, I came up to that revelation by pure happenstance. And there was some stuff I put together, but the biggest revelation of Cersei as revenge going to blow up the Sept was because I was reading book 2, and literally the chapter is early on in book 2. Literally the chapter I was at, Tyrion was talking about how under the Sept there's a whole bunch of wildfire, and I was like, oh,
foreshadowing much?
Oh yeah. And I started putting it together, and it came up with that theory, and it happens. And love that episode, not because I was right.
Well,
love that episode because so good. The whole first 10 minutes of that episode with that Ramin Djawadi
represents.
Score. Yes, and his score was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
The direction was beautiful. Now that episode belongs in a better season.
Yeah, it was a very crispy episode.
Crispy.
Well, Pesh, you're basically tapping yourself on the shoulder because you knew some information some of us did not.
Well, you could have read the books. It's early book stuff and big. It's early. It's like literally early on in book 2. It's not like I read some book 5 stuff.
That's okay. You can have it, Pesh.
I can have it. It was beautiful. I Sherlock Holmes the
mug almost book reader.
And I loved it. It was, and that was the last time I theorized about the show. No, wrong.
It is not. It is not.
My best theory is about to come up.
Yeah, and that one actually did blow my mind.
I called it in season 2, I think.
Yeah, we'll get to it.
No, enough of pompousness.
Yeah.
All I gotta say is that
never enough of pompousness.
All I gotta say is that the episode was beautiful. Was there a battle that season?
Well, Pesh, I think you're
Battle of the Bastards.
Yeah, I think you're concentrating and focusing on the wrong action scenes because there is indeed another battle episode. It is actually called The Battle of the Bastards.
True.
Which is, to my knowledge, the best battle scene they've ever done.
See, this shows our differences in personalities. That we're different people. Because to me, the best episode is The Light of the Seven. And it's not Battle of the Bastards. While I like spectacle just fine.
Just fine.
It's not why I fell in love with Game of Thrones. I like the twists and turns and the political intrigue and the amazing direction and the great writing. And the action is something I take with and as icing on the cake. Battle of the Bastards, probably the most well-directed battle scene they've had.
I think technically is perfect.
Incredible. There are some incredible shots in there. Incredible sequences, but you have a lot of around the whole battle. You got the stake is Rickon.
It's not though. Hashtag, which one is Rickon?
Yeah. Who the hell cares about Rickon? I think everybody wanted Rickon to die. I was like, please, Ramsay, you can do it. And and then Sansa coming up at the last moments. A very well executed battle. Not the best episode.
I'm not saying it's the best episode. I'm saying it's the best.
What are you telling me? I was
scene.
Focusing on the wrong episode.
Don't put words in my mouth, bitch. I said you're focusing on the wrong action scenes.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
MVP of this season.
Cersei.
I would say Cersei was the MVP of the last season with a Walk of Shame.
I like her delicious evilness. You know what I'm done with though? Her romance with Jaime.
I mean, Jaime is done with the romance as well.
So cringeworthy.
But they got a baby.
They got a baby. 3 of them. Now the fourth one's on the way.
The fourth one was on the way. For me, the MVP of this season, and he is in very, very little of the season, Euron Greyjoy.
Oh, why?
Because I just loved his
Why?
delivery and his just craziness.
Yeah.
Season 7. Euron demolishes the Dornish fleet. Jaime takes Highgarden. Dany burns through the Lannister army on her dragon. Drogon gets wounded. Stark family reunion. How nice. How nice. Jon goes to Dragonstone to join Dany's side and get Dragonglass to defeat the White Walker army. Littlefinger goes too far and finally gets his comeuppance. Arya super cash just cuts his throat and walks away. Loved it. And Cersei is pregnant again. Hashtag some people never learn. The boy band on the wall goes beyond the wall to capture a white and bring it south to show Cersei. A dragon dies by the hand of the spear-throwing Olympic champion, the man, the legend, the Night King. Holy Poop's Ice Dragon, which you predicted. Yeah, we know. Don't do this.
In season 2, Maz.
In season 2, yeah. Peace talks with Cersei don't go too well. Jon bones his auntie. Hashtag that ass. And after attack on the wall by the Night King's army, the wall gets destroyed, Pish.
Ooh, season 7.
Yes, season 7, Pish.
It's a bit of season 5 and it's a bit of season 6.
But executed a little bit better. I think it's just a slight incline from the first.
I was very hopeful after Battle of the Bastards, which is not a bad episode. It's a decent one.
Great one.
And the amazing Light of 7. That season 7 is gonna be great. Back to form. Return to form. It wasn't. Had some amazing moments for sure. I think,
but I think you should have treasured these moments.
A treasure of these moments.
Jaime, probably MVP.
MVP all the way, Jaime. Yeah, absolutely.
That season is Jaime has been great. Some of his best acting. I think Jaime and Cersei are great when they're apart from each other.
Their scenes together is very melodramatic.
Their romance. It's all about their romance, first of all, and it doesn't work for me.
But then
anymore.
again, it's not a romance. It's a very one-sided romance, and that's why it doesn't work. It's all on Jaime's part. Like, I don't believe Cersei feels a love for Jaime. I think she just uses her love to use him.
Yeah, who knows? I get what you mean. It is at times one-sided, but I do think that in her weird, twisted way, she does love him. Probably not as much as she loves him.
As much as she can love anyone, I guess. Yeah.
The scene that just... Again, I love. The battle with the Lannister army and Dany. Incredible. Loved it. But again, my standout moment in that episode is Jaime confronting
Lady Tyrell. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Such a beautiful scene.
And she just had to have the last word and the last singer. It's like, yeah, by the way, I murdered your kids. Suicide. Boom.
Such a wonderful scene. It is so great. That stuck with me.
Yeah.
Of course, the Frockies jumping on their horses. Badass.
That was pretty badass.
Also,
iconic, actually.
Also, like, that battle works sort of better than
Blackwater.
No. That battle works sort of better than Battle of the Bastards for me. Maybe not as grand, maybe not as well executed, but it is very well executed. But Jaime didn't have plot armor at that point anymore. There was a good chance he could have died.
Okay.
And you feel it sort of, Great, amazing.
I think that battle could have been better if at least either Jaime or Bronn died.
Yeah, probably. I do feel like a lot of people have been granted plot armor who probably shouldn't have. For example, Tormund. Tormund should have died.
Okay.
hated that episode. Hated that my prediction that I've been predicting for many seasons was executed like that. I do not like that episode at all. The way
I'm with you all the way on that.
the way the dragon died was cool. Such a rough episode.
It was a rough episode. It was very
Again, it was just
paint by numbers.
Paint by numbers, plots, getting through plot points. How? Doesn't matter. Just make it happen. Again, I hated the ending of the season. The new incest. Couldn't care for.
Okay. But that ass. Hashtag that ass.
And then the wall coming down. Sure. But this season, it might be the 2-year wait. But there's also a thing that after season 6, 5, 6, and 7, I stopped caring about the show. And I haven't given... This season was the first time... Season 7, it was the first time after it ended, didn't give it a second thought until now.
Okay.
So I haven't thought about Game of Thrones for 2 years now.
Okay.
Which is a new thing for me.
All right. You know what stands out to me? First of all, that you think that Tormund should die, which, I mean, nobody's going to be happy with that. He needs to get up on that Brienne.
Okay.
He needs to get up on it. Get up on it. No, what stands out to me is that in the first 3 seasons actually, very little plot and story happened.
Yeah, it's characters.
It's character building, and from season 4 a lot more starts to happen, and especially in season 5 a lot happens.
It's like they pump the gas.
I get what you mean when you say if the characters we care for are not in any real development, at least, that it's hard to care for what happens to anybody.
I stopped loving a lot of characters that I used to love.
Okay.
Because they've been going in circles. They are doing things that are below them. And not character-wise, just written, how they're written. They've been so much better, so much more well-written.
But then again, high bar.
And then you have the delivery of a lot of these build-up mysteries. Now, I started the episode with saying there was a plot point that irked the crap out of me.
Which one?
Jorah Mormont.
Oh, the grayscale.
The whole grayscale thing.
There's only so many times a man can look at his forearm and look in a brooding way towards the distance while flute music plays in the background.
It was awful. It was awful. The payoff was so bad. The way Sam just healed him overnight and everything.
Well, the thing is, I didn't have any problem with Sam. I just had a problem with the whole Jorah plotline.
The plotline was awful. They just wanted Jorah back.
Yeah.
How fast can you get him back?
Yeah.
It was so bad. So bad. Another plotline that I think has gone to waste is Arya. Her whole journey to assassinhood. It sort of paid off with the phrase. But there was a long... I mean, the whole process of her becoming an assassin was so unimpressive.
What I thought was really interesting in Arya's plotline, and it wasn't really interesting when I was watching it, she just could not let go of who she was and her hatred. I think there's a really interesting story there to be told. I don't think they delivered it in an interesting fashion.
Yeah, well, there's an interesting story in all of these plot points.
Good point. That's fair.
It's there. You just have to imagine them. You know? Sansa.
Lady Sansa.
You would have thought... You know what the problem is? There's also this problem that they sort of pump the gas on plot, but pump the brake on character. So the plot was going the way around season 6, the start of season 6, that Sansa's going to become this powerful, coming to her own. You know what I mean? Then they totally pumped the brake on her, and it was season 7 that she was starting to come into her own. And to me, tad bit too late.
Okay.
I already stopped caring about her character.
I stopped caring about Sansa as soon as she became a means for other people to go through their story.
So misused.
Very misused, and also like just
because I don't think she was a bad character. She was just very misused.
Absolutely.
And I have a huge problem with Sansa's whole plots for the last couple of seasons.
Okay.
I think it started off very interesting in season 1, season 2, even 3 and 4. Her story was very interesting, and you wanted her to make that turn around season 5, around season 6, and it just didn't happen, and she started making the same mistakes. It's like beating around a bush, turning around the same plot point the whole time. Tyrion does that too. Tyrion is guilty of that too.
True.
They just pumped the brake on character development, and it really showed. I stopped caring about a lot of characters. I can't literally. I used to have so many favorite characters. Right now, if you ask me who's your favorite character, I couldn't tell you.
Now I'm gonna use that as a segue. Who's your favorite character, Pesh?
I couldn't tell you.
Like
I don't have one. I don't have one. Not anymore.
Okay, but dead or alive in Game of Thrones, who's been your favorite character so far?
Oh. My favorite character? Everybody has had times that they were my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
I guess if I had to pick a favorite,
That's the point of the question.
Cersei.
Didn't see that coming, but it's very fair.
Mm-hmm.
She's been consistently good.
So she's been consistently good. And I feel like her growth, not as in she's been growing as a character, but her depth has been explored the most.
By Jaime? Wow. That reaction was very strong, Paige.
Mm-hmm.
Well, no, that's fair.
Who's your favorite character, Mas?
Well, my favorite character, Paige, unfortunately, he's dead. It has to be Oberyn Martell. He was there for one season, and he left such a big impact and such a big footprint. But from the characters who are still alive, he's not a main character. I have to go with Bronn. He's just enjoyable to watch.
You just like cool people.
It's like cool people.
I like psychotic people, because my second choice was Joffrey. The person who's died, Joffrey.
Well, the thing is, like, you are the kind of person who seeks out misery, basically, and likes to, like...
No, I think they're immensely watchable, and people work that way, man. You like this... there's so many shows about psychopaths, because people want to see how they tick.
Okay, no, that's fair.
And I think those two were very watchable.
That's okay. I don't judge you because you're the kind of person who thrives on being miserable. That's okay.
That was my I'm going psychotic look.
We'll act it out, Paige. We will act it out.
Thank you.
Brava. Hashtag brava. All right. Now, you said you're cautiously optimistic about the next season coming, season 8. Do you have any predictions? Because I'm always intrigued, you knowing your Sherlock Holmes ways and your use of information. What do you think is going to happen?
Like I said earlier, those days are over.
Oh, wow.
I have no theories, nor do I care to theorize yet. Mm-hmm. I dare not get that invested again.
Okay.
For me to be disappointed that hard again.
Okay.
So as I told you, I haven't given a single thought about Game of Thrones for the past 2 years.
Okay. That's fair.
Do you have any theories?
I'm gonna shoot out like questions at you, and you answer as much as you can.
All right. Because I have a couple of questions too. Okay. Go on.
So we're gonna go on a speed round. Who do you think is going to be on the throne at the end of the season?
Cersei.
Wow.
Yes. I think that would deliver the most, not only shock, but be the coolest story to watch.
And
if
also,
she's the Queen of Ashes, if there's nothing left, and she survives, and everybody she loves has died, either by her own hands, because I do think Jaime is gonna die because of her, either directly or indirectly. And I think she should be the Queen of Ashes. She deserves the throne, most than anybody.
I literally got chills all over my body. I don't think that's gonna happen, but I think it's a very cool.
Who do you
outline.
think is gonna sit on the throne?
I think it's gonna become a democracy. No, just kidding.
Because if it's Danny, who the hell cares?
It's not gonna be Danny. It's gonna be John Pish.
If it's
gonna
John, who the hell cares?
I know,
Is
it's-
that the show you fell in love with?
No,
You want to see the hero win the freaking throne?
Pish. Like I don't think.
That is so run of the mill.
True, but it really depends on how they execute it. And I think like the people who want to be the king the least make the best kings, and that's the story they probably want to tell.
The Azor Ahai theory.
Do you really think they're gonna kill John?
I don't think John is Azor Ahai.
Who do you think is Azor Ahai? Their kid?
Something like that. Or no, probably just Danny. Knowing that, because that theory is gonna stick to the books, probably. So it's what George R.R. Martin had in mind.
Okay.
I think for him, he would want a female to have that role.
Okay.
And it's between John and...
John is not a female, Pish.
Exactly. It's between John and Danny, and there's only one female between them, that being Danny. And I think she's going to be probably Azor Ahai.
Okay.
I think they're going to do a fake out, probably. You're going to think it's John. John is not going to survive this season.
But for Cersei to become queen and be the last one standing on an Iron Throne, that means her enemies have to die. Do you really think they're gonna kill John and Danny?
Or her enemies have something so big happens that change their priorities. As in the White Walkers invading the land.
Yeah, but then again, like Cersei is not gonna stand still and let them live.
Oh, she's the Mad King. She's just gonna sit on her throne while everything is gonna get destroyed.
So you think the Night King's gonna win?
I don't think the Mad King is going to win per se. I do think there's gonna be a huge toll. I think it's gonna be bittersweet, as George R.R. Martin has said. So I'm probably thinking the whole dynamic shifts, and we don't know much about the Night King yet, what their motivations are. But I do think at the end, the throne doesn't matter. And that's what Cersei gets, something that doesn't matter to anybody anymore.
Okay.
And I do think Jon is not long for this world.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you got sad there.
I did get sad, Pej. Yeah. Now, my theory is, you know how history is cyclical and it basically repeats itself, right? Well, I think Cersei is gonna become the Mad King and Jaime is actually going to kill her. But I do think after that, Jaime is gonna die in a battle with, like the big battle, the one that matters, with the Night King. And I think by that time, Cersei would have given birth. And Jon is gonna take care of that kid. And I'm gonna tell you why. I think the ultimate sacrifice for Jon would be to give up his own kid to save the greater collective. And I think Jon is gonna give up his kid, who's gonna end up being Azor Ahai, to the Night King as his replacement. And that's why the Night King is beyond the wall. He just wants a replacement because he's been doing the same function for ages. And he's basically the equivalent of the three-eyed raven.
Who just wants a replacement. But I get it that he wants a replacement, but what's their function?
Their function is basically to exist beyond the wall.
Wreak havoc?
Yeah.
How empty is that?
Once again, I'm not a writer here. It's just my theory.
Okay.
There's going to be holes here and there.
A part of me likes that Jon has to take care of Cersei's baby.
Yeah, it's going to be a very Ned Stark thing to do.
Yes. And he shouldn't have children. Technically. I like that part. The rest is very iffy in your theory.
It is. I mean, I haven't worked it out yet. I'm just spitballing.
I like that part a lot.
And I think the only person who can be a solid replacement for the Night King is Azor Ahai.
But do you think they're going to do that big of a time jump? Cersei and Dany probably just got pregnant.
I think so.
How long does it take the White Army to... They already broke the wall.
Yeah, but they have to go from north of a country to south of a country. That's
They
a
do that
long
in
walk.
They do that in a single episode.
They're not Littlefinger.
Yeah.
They don't travel that fast.
I don't know. Yeah.
And I think Dany is gonna die in childbirth because she couldn't have kids. I think the only way she can have a kid is by basically giving her own life to the kid. Does that make any sense to you?
So you go, Jon lives, Dany dies.
Yeah.
Does the child survive?
The child survives and gets taken by the Night King.
Yeah,
Basically.
you just said Jon is gonna give it.
Yeah, this is Jon's sacrifice.
No, he's not gonna do that. Are you kidding me?
I don't know. I think like if they, I think there's a cool story there to be told. I think Jon is very noble in a very Ned Stark way, and I think if he knew that's the only thing that could save humanity, it'd be a hard choice, but he would do it.
But he's replacing it. And 1,000 years later, this kid is gonna come back.
Yeah.
Not my problem, bro.
Yeah, but also thousands of years is a couple of hundreds of generations. And I think him and Sam are basically gonna write the guideline of how to prevent this next.
I think trying to theorize this stuff is futile before we know what their end game is.
That is true.
We don't know their end game. So any theory you come up with on that front,
Yeah.
it's not gonna really work. Because I can't put it context to it. I do think Jon raising Cersei's baby is interesting.
So do I.
There you go. Any other questions?
Do you think that Dany's vision of a burnt throne room
Is gonna come to
is going to come
fruition?
to fruition?
Yes. That's Cersei's throne, and she's gonna walk away from it. Dany.
In that case, do you think...
I think. Sorry to interrupt you. I think Dany has the sight and the sanity left to go like, whoa, well, this is not how I imagine things. But Cersei is so far gone that she's gonna be like, I want it, and this mine, and I'm gonna die here on this chair.
Okay.
Yeah.
But after that, who's going to run
I don't think
the
that's
world?
we're gonna see that, or it's gonna matter at all.
That's interesting, but very anticlimactic.
Do you want a nice bow around this show?
I don't want a nice bow, but I want to... I don't know. I don't know if I want to clear a winner or a loser.
I don't want
But
that.
I think it is important to know who the king is. And
I don't think it's important at all. I think it's gonna be Cersei, but they're gonna foreshadow that she's not long for this world and she's gone totally insane. So it doesn't matter anymore. Somebody's gonna replace her someday. Whatever, things go on. That's life, man. It goes in cycles and blah blah. And some character. I think the most important is how every character ends their plots. That's the most important thing.
yeah, I just love your optimism here. It's not dark at all, Pish. It's not dark at all. Wow.
I don't think I'm very pessimistic about.
Really? You?
No, I'm really pessimistic about. I don't think any reason they could come up with of why the White Walkers and the Night King are doing whatever they're doing is gonna be good enough.
Maybe. I mean, one could make a case that the Night King is stuck beyond the wall for ages for something he had no control over. He's been basically made a weapon.
Yeah, but then it's a very selfish thing, isn't it?
Yeah, people do a lot of things for selfish reasons.
Yeah,
Why
but-
do you think Cersei
but-
wants power that much?
But do you think for a character you've known nothing of, in the final season he says, "Yeah, they turned me into this White Walker and Night King, and for the longest time I've been trying to return, and I'm gonna destroy the whole world for that." That's good enough for you? Shouldn't they?
Do you think you're gonna get more depth out of it?
No, I'm being pessimistic. I'm saying there's no way they can deliver on that.
I'm thinking like best case, that's how it's gonna go. It's gonna be like, you guys did me wrong. You didn't let me come through the wall and be one of you. You exiled me, used me as a weapon when you needed it most, and then you treated me like crap.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, this is my revenge on you because you guys do not deserve to be here.
I don't think it can be simple revenge, and the only way it's gonna pull off is if there's some sort of a social commentary. In the world of Westeros.
Okay. Well,
Something that makes sense.
When you lock somebody out by building a wall in front of them.
But that was the plot for the Wildlings, though. How many times are you gonna do that?
Was it the Wildlings? The wall was not built for the Wildlings.
No, but
the wall was
but
built with magic inside of it to stop the Night King from getting south.
I know that. But the plot got used for the Wildlings in the show, not in the myth. In the show,
Yeah, but they did explain more than that.
The whole plot of finally letting the Wildlings pass by, and this is not cool, and hey, we're just people, and this and that, and we've done them wrong, and blah blah. They did that already.
Yeah, and I think
So if they did reuse it for the Night King, I wouldn't care. They also took a long time to build up the Wildlings as people.
Yeah.
Do you care for?
Well, the thing is, I think that's I actually think that's a great point you're making, and I do think that's a great way and a great doorway to explain Night King's motivations. I don't want an exposition episode in the voice of the Night King telling us what he wants and how he wants it. I think the Wildlings are gonna be the means of explaining the Night King's story to us.
You know what I fear is going to happen?
No, but I have a distinct feeling you're just about to tell me.
A Jacob episode.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Like in Lost, how they did the whole episode, like going through time with Jacob.
Mm-hmm.
What was it? No, it was
It was Jacob and the Man in Black, yeah.
Yeah, that episode. I hated that episode. Now, they did another episode going through time with Richards.
That was a better
That was an
episode.
amazing episode.
Yeah.
But I'm a little scared we're going to get the Jacob one.
I actually think we're gonna get a Richard one through Bran.
Could be. Because there's a point of going through time and showing you things, but there's also a point of going through time to specifically beat you over the head with elements that you need to know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I do.
So I hope it's done somewhat elegant.
Lee.
I'm very fearful of this last season.
Okay. Now, Pesh, we haven't talked about Game of Thrones for 2 years after it wrapped up after season 7.
Mm-hmm.
Did this conversation get you more hyped for the new season or not?
I've been sort of hyped for the last week already.
Have you watched any of the promotional material?
None.
Okay. There is one I think you should watch, is of them in the crypts in Winterfell.
I've heard about that.
It has probably nothing to do with the story.
Yeah, I heard it's
but
just shot for promotion.
Yeah, but it's very mystical and dark, and I like it.
All right. No, I don't watch the trailers. I think they're way spoilery.
Yeah, they usually tend to be.
And but I've been sort of, because I miss the big tentpole shows. I miss me some Westworld.
Oh yeah.
I miss me a little bit of Game of Thrones as well.
Do you think Westworld's gonna take 2 years again?
Yeah, it's 2020.
Yeah, I didn't know.
Yeah, they already announced it.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that podcast is gonna kill.
That podcast is gonna kill.
Yeah.
It's gonna kill us too.
Yeah.
Yep.
Can't wait.
Alrighty, now this was it for our recap of the first 7 seasons of Game of Thrones. We're gonna come back next week with our review of Season 8, Episode 1 of Game of Thrones. Till then, like, share, subscribe, and tell your friends about us. Help us grow and help us become better. But until then, be on the lookout. I think there's a better way of saying this.